Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Feed the Beast Unstable. And right now I'm currently hiding out inside of my base, which finally has glass panes in every single wall, so no more surprise creeper attacks for us. But there is a floating cube that is currently holding me or keeping me hostage inside of my own home, because I recently just came back from a quick little mining trip to get some more resources. I've dumped them all out into my crate over here and into my new audibling system that we'll get to in just a second. But as I came through the door, I was attacked by this floating cube. Now, I did get a quick look at its name, and I think it's some kind of chaos cube. Now, our current amount of armor is not particularly great, and our current weaponry is also not the best. We have an iron hammer, and I guess also an iron axe is currently our best form of offense. I am going to try and kill it, because I'm kind of interested to see what it drops, and also just what in the world it is. That being, if it's still about, I don't think it will have despawned. I don't know how I've managed to lose it within the first few minutes of the episode here. What in the world? Where are you, my friend? Please come back. I'm here to fight. I would like to defeat you in battle and acquire your chaos orbs. Oh, here he is. Okay. Hold on. Let's not get trapped. So hopefully he can't fire long distance. Oh, he definitely can. That sounds like a blaze, which is quite fitting for today's episode. Oh, thank goodness. He's very weak. He's dead. Okay, so we got a Chaos Crystal Shard. Are you some kind of wizard or something? It's a crafting material from Silent Gems 3. Okay, that actually plays in quite nicely into what I want to work on in today's episode, because what I do want to work on in today's episode is trying to get the best tools that we can possibly get for specifically mining, because I did a quick look through JEI between episodes to try and see if there were any blocks whatsoever in the pack that would allow us to try and automate the process of mining. You know, some kind of quarry, maybe a vertical digger, maybe a builder from RF Tools, something along those lines that would automate the mining process. And to the best of my knowledge, there is nothing in the pack just yet that allows for automated mining. And so all of the mining that we're going to do in this pack is going to be manual. And if we're going to do it manually, I want to make it as fast as is humanly possible. So up until now, we've been using the Silent Gear mod to make our iron hammer, our pickaxe, and all of our other tools. And there are 3 tiers of material in Silent Gear: Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. If we go ahead and type in Tier 1, we can see that the base resources are cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, netherrack, infested cobblestone, flint, and brick. All fairly easy to get, and all will make fairly weak tools. You can see durability 175, harvest speed is 4, which is pretty slow, harvest speed of 5, a little bit better, but not quite at the level of our iron pickaxe, which has a harvest speed of 8, a little bit better. Then if we go over to Tier 2, that's when we run into things like iron, like gold, like the crimson iron that we found in the last episode in the nether, as well as redstone alloy ingots and refined iron ingots. But of course there is the highest tier, Tier 3, and this is where things like diamonds, obsidian, and pretty much all of the gems from Silent Gems 3 come in. Now, I spent a bit of time between episodes going through each and every one of these gems, pressing control, looking at their stats, trying to find the gem or the item with the highest harvest speed. You can see this one here has a harvest speed of 9. If we go over to this one here, we've got a harvest speed of 8, a harvest speed of 14. This one's quite fast, but if I am not mistaken, the fastest material by far is the Crimson Steel Ingot, which has a harvest speed of 19. That's insanely fast. It's almost twice as fast as pretty much all of the rest of these here, hovering around 8 or 9. And so my plan for today's episode is to try and get as many Crimson Steel Ingots as we can, so that hopefully we can replace our pickaxe and our iron hammer with a Crimson Steel hammer and a Crimson Steel pickaxe, just to make mining that much faster. Now, there is one downside, and that downside is that the Crimson Steel Ingots are quite expensive. They require 4 Crimson Iron Ingots, 1 Magma Cream, and 2 Blaze Rods. There is a slightly cheaper recipe with the Alloy Smelter. We can use 3 Ingots, 1 Magma Cream, and 1 Blaze Rod. So we're saving 1 Blaze Rod and 1 Ingot there, as opposed to the regular crafting recipe. But of course, the tricky part here is going to be getting the blaze rods themselves and the blaze powder for the magma cream, because of course we do have that nearby slime area that's full of ender slimes, and whilst the ender slimes themselves cannot be used in the making of blaze powder, you can craft ender slimes directly back into regular slime balls, and so getting a large amount of slime really shouldn't be all too difficult. And so the first thing that I want to work on in today's episode is trying to get a blaze farm up and running. Now, to do that, there is thankfully a pretty nifty little item in the pack called the Spawner Relocator from Assisted Progressions, and thankfully this thing is ridiculously easy to make. It's 1 iron ingot, 1 stick, and 1 ender pearl. And if we can get this, we can go to the nether, use our new bridge building bow to get to a blaze spawner, try and find another fortress, bring that blaze spawner back to the overworld, and hopefully set up an automatic blaze, I was going to say killing farm, but unfortunately, again, there's no mod in here just yet that lets us automatically kill mobs. And if you try and kill a blaze with something like water, for example, it will not drop any blaze rods. And so we are going to have to manually kill the blazes, but we can soften them up a little bit, and we can also make it so that they're all just kind of pushed to one centralized location to make farming them nice and easy. So, real quick, the first thing I want to do in today's episode is craft up some berries so that we have some food, and I would like to head out into the dark and try and find myself an Enderman. Now, I'm going to assume that there are quite a few Endermen, or that Endermen spawn quite regularly over by the slimes, over by the Ender slimes, because it looks like that biome in and of itself is kind of an overworld version of the End. It's like I think underneath the grass there is Endstone, and I did notice there were a few End ores there as well, and so I'm hoping that much like the End, a bunch of Endermen are going to spawn there, and if I'm not mistaken, it's just over behind this village here. I did do a quick check in my top right to make sure that I wasn't about to trigger a raid. Thankfully, I'm not. And hopefully here, we're going to see quite a large number of Endermen spawning. Now, the trouble is trying to find an Enderman on their own, because what we really don't want to do here, especially with our rather flimsy iron armor, oh yeah, here we go. With our rather flimsy iron armor, we don't want to try and fight multiple Endermen at once, and if possible, we'd also rather not fight multiple Ender slimes either. And so, head down, all we're going to do is just whack this guy in the legs a couple of times, trying to not get hit. We probably, in hindsight, oh look at that, he's done it. In hindsight, we probably should have made some kind of better sword before we came over, because our axe, whilst pretty high on the attack damage front, is relatively slow on the recovery front. It takes quite a while to come back after you've swung a hit, but nevertheless, we got an ender pearl, and so now we can head back, we can make the spawner, and we can head on through to the nether to try and find that blaze spawner. Now, before we do go through to the nether, I think a sensible thing for us to do would probably be to make a little bit of armor. The armor that we have right now, whilst somewhat sufficient, is not ideal, and considering that we're going to be going through into the nether, and our current only form of quote-unquote flight is our bridge building bow, we don't have a jetpack or anything like that just yet, and so getting away from the blazes and getting away from the gas is going to be a little bit trickier than it normally would be, and so I think it's definitely going to be worth getting some armor here. And between episodes, I did go through and look at all the gems that we do have to try and find the gem that I think would be best for making a set of armor, and thankfully I think it's the one that we have the most of. This Morganite here is Tier 3, and it also has a durability of 512 with an armor durability of 14x, rarity of 25, and enchantability of 12. I think this is pretty much the best we can do out of all the gems that we currently have. You see this one has armor durability 10x, 12x, 10x, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab quite a bit of this. I'm also then going to quickly sleep because it's the middle of the night and I would prefer not to die again if at all possible. And then real quick, we're going to pop on out over to our lovely little sugarcane farm over here, grab as much sugarcane as we can, because of course, if we're going to make a suit of armor out of pretty much anything in this pack, we need the blueprints from the Silent Gears mod, and for the blueprints, we of course need a bunch of paper. We also need a good bit of blue dye, which you can do with lapis, but we can also do with these blueberries over here, so I will just quickly grab a few of those, and also replant that rose bush that I just accidentally harvested. And real quick, let's head back in here. Let's craft up some blue dye, like so. Let's craft that blue dye up with a little bit of paper, like so. Boom. And I think it's like this. Boom. It is indeed good stuff. We are going to need a little bit more than 16. And so to save us having to wait for more berries to grow, we'll also go ahead and craft some lapis into blue dye as well. Boom. And boom. That should be more than enough. I think 24 is all that we really need. And so over in JI, if we type in blueprint, we do need to get ourselves some sticks real quick. Again, should not be a problem. In fact, I think we have some lying around. We've got a few. I don't think we can use these oak sticks, unfortunately, and it looks like we are completely out of regular old oak wood, which is a little bit of a problem. We definitely should look into getting some more of that fairly soon here, especially given how easy it is for us to get. But nevertheless, we'll go ahead and get a full suit of blueprints, which looks something like this. And then I'm fairly certain that we just craft the blueprint with however many Morganite it would normally take to make a armor piece of that nature. So something like this, and then something like this. And then finally, if we've got enough space here, something a little bit like this. Nice. Okay, so for now I'm just going to dump stuff in here. The dual crafter does hold its inventory, which is very nice indeed. Let's go ahead and dump some of the stuff that we don't need out of our inventory. I'm a fool as well. I'm holding oak wood. One problem that I did notice with the system that we have here is that you cannot put wooden crates or any crate into crate. You can't put a crate in a crate, unfortunately. And so I can't put this in here and thus can't have it, sorted and put in over here. And so right now, I can't really do anything with this outside of either holding onto it or putting it down. I guess for the time being, I'll put it down, but it definitely is a little annoying that I can't put those crates away into storage. But anyway, let's get rid of some of this stuff here. And real quick, before we head on through to the nether, I do want to talk a little bit about what I've worked on between episodes. And also, did I just put my boots over in here? I think I did. I did indeed. There we go. Before we do that, I do want to talk a little bit about stuff that I've done between episodes. Namely, you'll notice that I put a roof in, I put some windows in, and I've moved this setup over here, which previously was a little bit of a monstrous setup. It took up this entire wall here. It went so high up, and I've tried to make it somewhat less monstrous. And I think I've done that to an extent. It's definitely wider now than it was before, but it works, and it's a little shorter as well, which is always nice. So the only thing that's different really about this is the inclusion of colored tubes. So we have a yellow tube right here, and then you'll notice we also have a blue tube here. And real quick, if I just kind of dig up a bit of the wood here, the reason why I've gone for the yellow and the blue tubes, which is also the reason why I have yellow and blue stained glass. You need the stained glass to make the different colored tubes. You can't just dye the pre-existing tubes, unfortunately. But what happens is regular tubes will connect to any color. So the regular tubes here can connect to the yellow tubes just fine. Same is true over here. But the colored tubes cannot connect to each other. So for example, this blue tube here will not connect to the yellow tube, and the same is true over here as well. And so if you're trying to make really compact systems where you don't want your pipes to connect, but you do want them to be nice and close, the colored tubes make that possible and make it so you don't have just all the pipes sticking together all the time, which is real nice indeed. So that's basically the setup here. It's essentially the same. We've got an iron crate here where the ores go. The ores get pushed through to the basic crusher. They then go out through the blue pipe, up, around into this hopper here. We have two shunts to make sure it doesn't go into this hopper, because this is where we put our tiny pieces of coal. Speaking of which, we are out of coal. So real quick, let me fill that up to keep that going there. And then the final product goes down. It goes through the floor and of course over to our storage door setup. But without further ado, let us go ahead and dump even more of this stuff out of here. Let's quickly grab some sticks, and let's quickly craft up that spawner relocator and then head on through to the nether to try and get our very first blaze spawner, which hopefully won't be too far away and hopefully won't be too difficult to get either. Okay, so right out of the gate, before we go looking for a spawner, I should go ahead and put a waypoint down. And I did figure out between episodes through the comment section that there is actually a waypoint system in the game. There are two ways you can do it. One is by pressing U. That brings up your list of waypoints, and you can click the little create button. But if you want to go straight to creating a waypoint, you can just press B and then go ahead and click save, and that will create a waypoint where you are. You can pick the little icon that you want to use here. For now, we'll go with the square, and we'll go ahead and make it a nice bright red color, like so. And so now there's a big red cube on the minimap where our nether portal is. And so now it's just a case of heading out and seeing if we can't find ourselves a nether fortress. And of course, on my way, I will try and grab as much crimson iron as possible. If I come across any, I'll grab it. I also might grab a little bit of nether quartz whilst at it as well. And another thing that I have also noticed about the nether is that they have these guys over here, these little pillars of bone block, which are these, and like that guy over there as well. If I can get over there real quick, I can show you that those are essentially just exactly what they sound like. They're just pillars of essentially free bone meal, which is really nice. It's going to make, farming a little later on super easy. And on top of that, you can also use it to make soundproofing from the cyclic mod, which is going to come in super useful because in a second, of course, we're going to try and build a blaze spawner, I think underneath our house. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a huge fan of the grunting and groaning that the blazes do all day long. And so ideally, if we could put a layer of soundproofing between us and the blazes, that would be ideal. And so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to do a lot of bridge building. I'm going to try and find some crimson iron. I'm going to take as many of these bones as I can carry. I'm going to try and find a blaze spawner, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so a little while later, we have indeed found a nether fortress. I'm going to assume that they're almost certainly... I didn't make a sword. I'm such a fool. I should have definitely made a sword. Hold on. I don't have any wood either, although we are in luck that we are in a part of the nether that has these little logs in, and presumably I can craft these up into planks and then a crafting table. I can indeed. Might as well go ahead and craft that into a crafting station here. And then I'm just going to go with a very basic iron sword just because that's all I can make right now, and it seems maybe better than the iron hatchet. I really should have made one. I meant to before we came through, but nevertheless, here we go. Let's see if we can't get ourselves and actually real quick, let's also eat a fruit salad as well. Let's not mess this up, shall we? Let's try and do this the right way here. Would preferably like to leave here without dying, and also with a brand new blaze spawner to take home, because we're quite far away from the portal, as you can see by that red dot on the mini-map, and I would prefer not to have to come back to get all of my stuff. Now, this guy, oh my goodness, he does have a bow, which I'm not a huge fan of. I prefer to fight bowless wither skeletons. Now, whereabouts is our blaze spawner? There are blazes and quite a few of them. Now, of course, I would prefer not to die here. We do have a little bit of netherrack. I'm just thinking about building over that way. That might make my life a little easier, or maybe digging through the wall here, because our armor, whilst new, is also not particularly great. And so I think our best bet here is to try and play this really as safe as is humanly possible. Here we go. Little bit of fall damage is fine. I will also, of course, grab some nether wart whilst we're here. It's almost certainly going to come in useful at some point in the future. All right, let's go see if we can't find a blaze spawner, shall we? Let's have our spawner relocator on our hotbar. This thing is a little slow. You have to shift right-click, charge it up, and then grab the spawner. So we do need to be careful to not be, like, in the line of fire when that happens. We don't want to get immediately just killed as soon as we go to try and steal a spawner. That is if we can indeed find one, because right now I don't really see one. We also do have our... hello, my friends. We have our bow, of course. Now, I don't know how the bow works in terms of building bridges. Okay, it did build a bridge, which is interesting. Oh, spawner. Please don't spawn any in. Please don't spawn any in. Wishful thinking. Just quickly shift right click and grab it and then run. We've got it. We've got it. That's all we need. We don't have to fight them. We don't have to play their games. We can just get out of here. I'm not going that way. I guess I am going this way. I'm just going to build a bridge real quick. Here we go. All right. Now the tricky part, though, actually, because although that was fairly scary, the hardest part here, I think, is going to be trying to get back, because I did quite a bit of bridge building, and I did make sure to always grab my arrows back. So thankfully, we do still have all 14 of our arrows, but that's still quite a lot of bridge building that I need to do in order to get back to that red square. And also, real quick, let me go ahead and hit B and put down a new waypoint for Nether, caps lock, Nether Fortress. Apparently there's a character limit, so we're just going to have it Nether Fort. Save. All right, so we know where that is if we need to come back in the future. But for now, though, I'm going to head back. I'm going to continue to try and get as much Crimson Iron Ore as I possibly can. And I'll see you guys when we're back at base. Okay, so now quite a while later, we're back here in the overworld with our blaze spawner, which I've just temporarily placed over in our new wooden crate over here. There it is. And what I've done as well is I've gone ahead and dug out a little bit of a basement for us. Now, right now, it looks a little bad, and I'll do some work between episodes to hopefully try and make it look just a little bit nicer, but I wanted to have some more space for the base in general, but I also wanted to set up what is going to be, hopefully, our blaze spawner, and that is this area up here. So the plan right now is to get the blaze spawner, place it down probably right about here, smack bang in the middle of this 7x7 room. We're then going to have fans, which are these guys here from Cyclic, which you can give a redstone signal and they will push any entity in the direction that they are facing. So we're going to have fans all the way along this back wall here, as well as here and here to make sure that the blazes get pushed to the middle. They're then going to come over to here. This ladder is going to be replaced with water. The blazes will slowly but surely sink down. We'll also, I think, have a fan in the roof here just to push those blazes down as much as possible. The blazes should then, hopefully, sink slowly but surely to the bottom, where we're going to have yet another fan that pushes them over in this direction. And then here, we're going to have a block and then maybe even a slab so that we can just stand here and hopefully one-hit kill every single blaze that comes by. We might even go ahead and put down a hopper and then maybe some tubes running over to a storage drawer so we can just collect all of the blaze rods that come out of it. Now, other than the fan, there is also another block in the pack that can push entities, and that is the pusher. And I'll bookmark this as well as bookmarking the fan, which is A, by the way. If you press A, hovering over any item, it will bookmark it over on the left-hand side there. And the reason why I'm bookmarking both of them is because the setup I'm about to make does require both of these devices, because the normal fan is cheaper in the sense that it doesn't require feathers, which this one does, and we don't really have a good source of feathers just yet. And so the normal fan is what we're going to use mostly, but the pusher has the added benefit that it doesn't take into consideration blocks in front of it. So for example, if I was to put down the fan, let me get some blocks here. If I was to put down the fan here, and then I was to put down, for example, a spawner here, the fan would not push a mob that was standing here because there's a block between it and the fan. However, if this was a pusher, the pusher goes straight through the mob spawner and will still push the mob back, which is going to be really useful, not only to get mobs around the spawner, which is going to be in the middle of the room, but also to get mobs at the bottom here, because we're going to have a little fan or a little pusher in that little hole that I've cut out there, because again, the fan cannot push through water, but the pusher can. And so ideally, for this setup to work, we're going to need 2 pushers as well as a multitude of fans. So thankfully the fans themselves are not too hard to make. They do require quite a bit of iron and a fair bit of redstone as well. Not too bad, we've got most of that stuff already. The difficult bit, of course, is going to be getting a large amount of feathers. We're probably going to have to go out and start killing a couple of chickens. I did notice between episodes there is a seed in the pack called the Fluffy Puff Seed. This one right here from Silent Gems 3. And if you harvest this, if you grow it and harvest it, you get Fluffy Puff, which you can then craft into feathers. Now, I believe the way you get this is just by breaking generic seeds. And I did try breaking a few between episodes, and I didn't get any. It must be a very low chance, but I think I might try again between episodes, or maybe at the end of this episode, to break just a ton of grass and see if we can't get one of those Fluffy Puff seeds. As soon as we have one, you can then craft the resultant Fluffy Puff back into a Fluffy Puff seed. So getting more of them would become very easy, and getting a large Fluffy Puff farm would be really useful for us, not only for getting the pusher, but also for getting more arrows in the future to ensure that we can continue to build bridges with our bridge building bow. Try and say that 5 times fast. To build bridges with our bridge building bow. There's so many B's in there. But anyway, real quick, let's go ahead and grab some iron. Let's grab some redstone. Let's grab some regular stone. And let's see if we've got what it takes to make quite a few of these fans. So we need 6 on the back wall plus 2 either side. So that's 8. And I think we need 1 pushing down. So we need 9 of these fans if possible. So real quick, we will go ahead and grab at least 18 stone slabs. Like so. We then, of course, need at least 18 redstone torches. Thankfully, I think we do have yet more sticks in here. I made way too many for all of the ladders that I made earlier. And so we'll go ahead and grab those as well, like so. We then, of course, also need to get ourselves 9 repeaters. And these stack. They do, thank goodness. And then finally, that should be 9 fans. Nice. And then we also, of course, are going to have to get quite a few levers as well if we're going to make this work, because, of course, we do have to activate the fans with a redstone signal. And so let's get at least 9 cobblestone, boom, and boom. And that should be, I think, pretty much everything it takes to get the fans up and running. And at that point, the only thing that we're really missing to get this setup off the ground here is the feathers for the pushers. Other than that, we've pretty much got everything that it takes. And so up here, essentially, all we're going to do is we're going to dig out, I think, 2 blocks back so we can put down a lever, like so. We can turn that lever on, and then we can put the fan down like this, and that fan will slowly but surely push you back. Now, with these fans, you can just crouch to walk through them. With the pushers, you actually need to get the boots, the glass boots, these ones here, to not get pushed. And so I might make these as well, just to make it a little easier when it comes to putting the pusher down. But essentially, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to put down all of these fans. I'm going to try and get at least 8 feathers, and I'll be back in a second. And a few chickens later, and we now have everything we need to put together our 2 pushers. We just need 2 regular old pistons, for which we do need some oak planks. Boom, and boom. And then after that, we should have everything it takes to make 2 of those. Nice. Now, the way that these work, unlike the fans, is that they push relative to how much of a redstone signal you give them. So, for example, if you had a lever and then 5 blocks of redstone, it would only push them 10 blocks because initially the redstone signal that comes out of the lever is, I think, 15, maybe 16, and then that is then reduced by 5 for the 5 redstone, and then pushes 10, if that makes sense. But by default, the amount of redstone power out of a lever, I believe, is 15. I could be wrong about that, and so this thing should push our mobs 15 blocks by default. Now, getting back up here could be a little difficult because I have put a fan in the roof there. Let me check real quick. Does it tell me? It does, yeah, power 15. So right out of the gate, the pusher, this guy here, is going to push 15 blocks. So let me get into place. I think, are these not on? These are not on. I need to toggle these on. That's fine. We can make that happen. I don't think that matters too much because we're only going 7 blocks this far over. It doesn't really make too much sense either to try and lower the power. I think for now, all we need to do is just do this, and that should... Okay, so apparently when you break these, they break. I didn't flip the lever, which I needed to do. And then now if I put it down... Wait, hold on. It's not pushing me? Give me a second here. That's not on. Oh, that is on. Okay, so you'll see now this is pushing me. Despite the fact that there's a fan in the way, that's still pushing me. Now, the annoying thing is that without the glass boots, you actually can't do anything with those. Like, you can't push against it unless you have the glass boots on. Even if you hold shift, it doesn't stop you there. The annoying part, though, is that I have to go and get 4 more feathers because I broke it with my pickaxe. Someone did mention in the comment section that it could be a thing that I have to break it with a regular pickaxe for machines like that to not be destroyed. Either way, that's rather annoying. But nevertheless, I don't think these are the right oak planks, are they? No, I'll fix that between episodes. But for now, I'm going to sleep real quick. I'm going to head on out once again to try and get yet more feathers because apparently the 8 that we got was not enough because I lost it. And I'm also, real quick actually, do we have some glass? We do indeed. We even have glass pins. Alas, they are glow glass pins, but I should be able to do this and then very quickly whip up a nice new snazzy pair of clear boots, like so, and hopefully that should allow me to quite easily walk against that pusher there. So we're almost there. Real quick, I'm going to go away once again. I'm going to try and find 4 more feathers. Once we're done with that, the spawner should be pretty much good to go, and we should have as many crimson steel ingots as we want. I might also go ahead and real quick go and grab a bunch of ender slimes whilst I'm out here, but either way, I'll be back in just a second. Alright, so finally, a bunch of slimes and a couple of chickens later, we're back once again. Let me clear my inventory of all of the nonsense that we do not need to have on us at this moment in time, and let's get back to making this second pusher. So, we are 1 piston away, which again does require some more logs, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4 cobblestone, and of course 1 bit of redstone as well. That should be everything to make a piston, and that should hopefully be everything to make another one of these just as soon as we get a little bit more redstone, like so. Nice. All right, let's make sure we get this right the first time, shall we? So we don't have to get yet more feathers. I also had to fight a ridiculous number of those purple slimes in order to get just 9 of these ender slime balls. So we're definitely going to have to get, I think a better sword would be quite useful for fighting those guys. But nevertheless, here we are. So actually, real quick, let me go and grab that bucket of water that is currently, I believe, over in here. It is indeed good stuff. And then if we head on back, we should be pretty much good to go. And actually, real quick, let's grab our spawner as well. This guy here. So we can actually put this down and get this show on the road. And while we're at it, we might as well go the whole hog, get a chest, get ourselves a hopper, like so. We should, I believe, have some tubing left over somewhere in here. We've got 2 yellow tubes, and I think we should have at least a couple of blue tubes somewhere, although maybe we've used all of those as well. Nevertheless, that's fine, actually. We can just go ahead and make another set like so. And while we're at it, once again, we might as well grab our storage drawer as well, which is simply just a chest and some planks. Nice. All right, that should be everything we need. So what we're going to do, we're going to have our hopper be right about here. That's going to feed through into a tube, which is then going to run over. There goes my pickaxe. Gosh dang it. Do we have any iron on us? We do indeed. So boom, boom. And we'll do this a few times just to get it back up to full repairedness. There we go. And then for now, the storage drawer can go right about here. We can have tubes here and here, and we can have a hopper right about here. Nice. Okay. And then up here, we need to get rid of all of the lights. Hold shift. Get rid of all the lights. So get rid of everything in here like so. I think that's pretty good. We need to put down the actual spawner itself. So we're going to get rid of you. We're going to put down the spawner. Shift right click. And boop. We're then going to get rid of all of the ladders. Or at least most of them. And then we're going to put down water there. We can then get rid of the remaining ladders very slowly. And then finally, we're going to have our pusher in here with, of course, a lever behind it. Like so. Make sure that's on. Make sure this is down correctly the first time. Get rid of this. And I think that should be pretty much good to go. Now, of course, we don't want the water flowing out. So actually, we want the water specifically to go directly down here. So hold on. Let me... no, I didn't wish to swim. Gosh dang it, the new swimming mechanics. We want the water going down in a straight line is what we want here. Like that. We need him to fall and then hopefully be pushed. There we go. Look at that. Half a heart. And then once he's here, we just whack him and he's dead. And hopefully, if the ladders are not in the way, we get a blaze rod eventually. If they actually dropped one, which they don't always do. Real quick, let me go and make any kind of slab, really, so we can block up that entranceway. Not that I think we're going to die necessarily to a blaze that's already, you know, nearly dead. But just to be safe, we might as well go ahead and put this down just underneath that block of dirt. So, like, right about... Actually, also, is there a torch in there somewhere? Seems quite... Oh, there is. Get rid of that as well. And boom. So now we should be able to just stand here. They come in at half a heart, which is just perfect. And then we can just whack them. And... so long as there's no other stuff there, maybe one day we get a blaze rod. Maybe. But the good news is that this seems to be working. Now, I do hear blazes up there who are not yet down here. There could be, and I probably should make like a viewing gallery almost, like a second path up that lets me look inside with some glass potentially, just so I can kind of peek in and see what's going on every now and again. But I think it's quite possible that because the room is 3 blocks high. Actually, I don't think so, because the opening is also 3 blocks high. I feel like they should all be being pushed down. And it looks like it is kind of working. I hear another one coming down as we speak. Hello, my friend. And of course, at some point, we can put like looting on this, the sword, and try and get even more blaze rods going. But for now, we do have at least... Oh, gosh dang it. With these, you got to step back and then shift right click. If you're too close, you pick it up. So step back. We got 2 blaze rods. And so getting more of these shouldn't be too difficult for us. We just wait and then harvest them as they come in there. Let me quickly check what's going on up here. I want to peek in. I want to make sure I don't break the walls or anything, but I do want to take a quick look and see what's going on inside of here. Because it is at least... Okay, so there's one of the fans. So this one is obviously off now because I've just turned it off. But if we turn it back on, maybe the fans are not strong enough? Or maybe the middle fan is too strong? Now that I think about it, like the one that's behind the spawner might be too powerful. I'm thinking that one's kind of pushing them to the sides a little bit. You see how fast it pushes it? I think what we might want to do is... I'm going to try to get back in here real quick. I don't think I should die, he says, as he opens that up and then immediately thinks he's going to die. And it is also possible that we do get other mobs in here as well. I can hear gosh dang it. I can hear non-blazes bouncing around. And since we've gotten closer, it seems like the number of blazes that have spawned in has gotten substantially higher. Please don't shoot me. Thank you. Okay, what's going on? I think... No. Don't kill me. Goodbye. Goodbye, my friend. Let me light this up for a second. I think that's obviously a problem. I think this one's too strong. I think what we should do instead is we should delete that. I know that's all of our feathers gone. But if we delete that and instead just have a fan maybe here that pushes any... Actually, I guess it's not really too big of a deal, right? I'm thinking about, like, blazes that get caught here. I feel like eventually they'll move over. And so maybe just leaving it like this might be okay. Because I think what was happening just then is that the blazes were being pushed so hard by that fan that they were kind of just stuck here. That fan was overpowering these fans so that the blaze couldn't go anywhere because it was just pushed up against the wall. So I'm going to leave it like this for a second. I'm going to get rid of all the torches again. And let's see if this is any better. And also, like, this back on. Beautiful. I think that might work out a little better, maybe. There was always the inherent problem of them just, you know, dying in the water. I've tried to make the water tunnel short enough to where that's not, hopefully not a problem. Or at the very least, the problem is somewhat minimized. But either way, we have a blaze spawn and we have access to a large amount of blazes. We can always tweak this if we want in the future to try and make it better than it currently is right now. And hopefully, as 1.14 modded progresses, we can get even more mods that will allow us to hopefully maybe automatically kill the blazes without having to set up a manual killing farm like this. Something like the spikes from Extra Utilities 2 would make this just a little bit more automated, which would be very nice indeed. But for now, real quick, let me head on back up, because between episodes I will spend quite a bit of time farming those blazes away. For now though, I want to head back up and I want to see about making our first crimson steel ingot. Now, we do have an alloy furnace lying around over here, an alloy smelter. It is, of course, very, very slow, and right now it doesn't have a place on our wall of machines here. But if we put in an ender slime, a blaze rod, and I believe it was just 3 crimson iron. It is indeed. Now, I think it still makes sense to push our crimson iron through the old setup, so to grind it and then to smelt it so that we can quadruple it as we go forward. But if we can go ahead and quadruple that into 8 crimson iron ingot, and then we can put that into here, the next thing that we want to make is the parts analyzer. This guy right here from Silent Gems, and also, flippin' heck, you can hear those blazes already. We definitely need to go and get some red and yellow flowers so we can make some orange dye and hopefully make that soundproofing fairly soon here. But before we do that, here is the part analyzer. It's made with 3 iron ingots, 3 gold, 1 advanced upgrade base, which requires blue dye, gold nuggets, diamond shards, which you can get from a diamond, essentially diamond nuggets, as well as a basic upgrade base, which is stone, paper, and wood of any kind, with some nether quartz as well. And essentially, real quick, if I dump my inventory out here, essentially what this is going to allow us to do, and while I'm at it, I might as well just put all of this in here. There's no reason to do the crimson iron one at a time. But essentially, what this is going to allow us to do is to analyze our parts. And you might be thinking, why, thanks, Isaac. You've really done a good job at explaining that. That's exactly what the name says. But essentially, what it does is it gives every material that you would normally use for making a tool a grade. And I believe the grades are between D and triple S. So D, C, B, A, S, double S, triple S is the order from worst to best, I think. I don't know if you can get an E or not. I don't think you can, but it's possible. We'll see in a minute, I guess. But essentially, it grades every single item, and it doesn't grade them based on their tier. It grades them individually. So we could put iron ingots in, for example, and we could get some iron ingots that are grade D and some iron ingots that are grade triple S. The variance is there in every single material. Now, when you automatically craft a tool, so up until now we've just grabbed some ingots, we've crafted them with the blueprints, and we've made our tools. When you do that, you get a random grade. So the game will automatically assign a random grade to that ingot or that piece of ingredient before the weapon is made, and then it will determine the weapon statistics. But if ahead of time you analyze each part and you pick either only the best parts or maybe only the worst parts if you wanted to for some reason, but what we can do is we can try and pick the best parts possible and then use those for our tool. So for example, we might get, 6 crimson iron ingots or 6 crimson steel ingots. And if we were to just put all of those and make a hammer, we'd get a fairly decent hammer. But if we analyzed all of those and we picked the 6 crimson steel ingots with the highest grade, so the ones that were, triple S or double S, we would get an even better tool. It would be even faster and it would have even higher durability. So it's kind of just a way to push things just a little bit further and make sure that you get the utmost out of your tools. If I'm not mistaken, by default, if you don't use the part analyzer, the grade of the tool that you get is slightly lower. So if you just use the ingots and craft them, then on average, you're going to get a lower grade. So you're probably going to get like C's, D's, maybe a B in there. And if you analyze it, you're more likely to get a higher value. So you're more likely to get that A, S, double S, triple S, all that kind of stuff. So it is worth it to put things through the part analyzer. As far as I know, it doesn't require any power, so it's kind of just free to put it through there. The only thing it really requires is time, and you can make your odds a little better by using a little extra material as well. So for example, we just put some iron in, like so. It's going to go ahead and analyze that iron. Right now, it says grade, not analyzed, but as soon as it gets through, this is grade D. So not a particularly good piece of iron. If we put another piece through, it's going to analyze it again, and this one is A. So it's a good piece of iron. And if we hover over it, you'll see this one, durability 240, this one, durability 275, this one, durability 250. So just by analyzing it, we bump the durability up from 250 to 275 because we're picking the best one. We're picking grade A, which is not the best, it's triple S, but that's the best one of these two, right? And then, harvest speed is 6. That goes up to 6.6. And so if we're going to try and make our crimson steel here, which base has a durability of 19. If we can get that to like a triple S tier, we might be looking at, 21, 22, maybe even higher on the harvest speed, which would be actually insane. Now, the downside is that these do not stack, which is rather annoying. But I think what we'll do here is temporarily, we will go ahead and make a few more crates. I don't think there's anything flammable downstairs, so I'm hoping that we're not going to lose anything to our, like a blaze fire. But real quick, if we get 2 more golden crates, and I believe you can actually upgrade the crates, I'm thinking it's probably going to be a good idea to upgrade. The crate upgrades are more expensive than the crates themselves. What in the world? All right, I'm just going to make 2 more crates here. I was going to try and upgrade the iron crate or the wooden crate that we have, but as I said, upgrading the crates is seemingly more expensive. And essentially, all we're going to do is we're just going to have 1 crate. Actually, we'll push that 1 further up, I think. We'll have this guy up here. We're then going to have a hopper that goes down into our part analyzer, like so. And then we'll have another hopper over there. Nice. Real quick, actually, where is my crimson iron? It might be stuck in here. It is, due to the fact that we don't have any fuel in there just yet. Let's go ahead and rectify that. How much coal do we have? We've got 40 coal, so we definitely do need to go and do a little bit more mining between episodes, try and get yet more of that. But for now, we'll fill this up. We'll get that smelting. I am going to push our crimson iron to the front here just to make life a little easier. We could just put the crimson chunks directly in here, but again, we do get double the amount of ingots if we put it through the furnace first, so we might as well do that. And whilst we wait for that, let's go ahead and grab a chest, make ourselves maybe the 100th hopper we've made this series, and then we'll throw that, of course, right about here. And now that I think about it, I actually need yet another hopper. That is fine. And I could also do with maybe heading out and grabbing some berries as well, because my hunger is getting a little bit low. But let's, for now, throw this guy down right about there. And so now you can kind of automate the process of analyzing. You can put all the stuff you want analyzing up here, have it analyzed, and then dump it out in here, because as you can see, it doesn't stack, which is a little annoying. But, you know, normally we're not going to be doing it with stuff like iron. We're going to be doing it with stuff like this crimson steel, which is made specifically for the purpose of making armor, right? So we'll take these crimson iron ingots, and unfortunately, you cannot kind of scan these ahead of time. So you can't, oh, I need to craft this, of course. My bad. Boom. And, oh, I actually need to craft it into a blaze powder as well. And by that, I mean magma cream, which requires a blaze powder. You know what I meant. Let's go kill some more blazes real quick. So I'm hoping we just kind of get a nice backlog of blazes. He said us there was 1 blaze waiting for him at the end there. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Now, we can craft blaze rods into blaze powder, but I'm also fairly certain that we can get significantly more blaze powder if we first put it through our grinder. So the regular craft gets us 2. And if we put it through our crusher, we get 4. Beautiful. So we actually double our output just by throwing that into there. I would love to grab this before it gets pulled out by the hopper. That I did not do. Oh, no, I did. Nice. Okay, I got 3 of the 4. The other one will end up in there, and those in here. I don't want it in there. Good stuff. All right. So boom, and boom, and boom. That should get us our first crimson steel ingot. As you can see, a little bit of a pain in the backside to make, but between episodes, I'm going to go ahead and hopefully fight a bunch more blazes, hopefully fight a bunch more slimes, probably go back to the nether and get some more of this crimson iron so we can make this crimson steel, which we can then go ahead and analyze. But before we do, there is one more thing we can do to make our analysis more likely to give us a good outcome, and that is that we can put glowstone into this bottom slot here. Kind of acts as a catalyst. I believe it does use up 1 piece of glowstone when it does it, but it gives us more of a chance of getting a higher tier. And we got grade C, which is not great, honestly. I think that's kind of smack bang in the middle. You'll see durability 3200, durability 3200, 37, 19, 42, 42. So it's about the same. That's kind of about smack bang in the middle. It's kind of the worst we could have done in that scenario there. But essentially, like I said, between episodes, I'm going to get a bunch of slime, bunch of blaze, craft all these together. Let me quickly go and grab some more blaze rods from downstairs. We'll do 1 or 2 more just to see if we can get like a really good S or double S or triple S version going here. That would be fantastic. And then we can, of course, use that to make some really fast, really good tools with just a super high amount of durability. For reference, our iron hammer right now has a durability of 500. So going up to 3,200, if not higher, is going to be really nice indeed. And then on top of that, we can actually take it 1 step further as well, because Silent Gems actually adds in a block called the Supercharger, which enhances Silent Gems parts, requires charging agent and 4 pillars. See the wiki. I've already seen the wiki. I know how this works. But next episode, we're going to come back. We're going to set up the supercharging altar, and we're going to take these pieces of crimson iron. We're going to take the best pieces that we can get, and we're going to supercharge them to be even better than they are by default. Again, we got a grade C. Not ideal at all, but still far from a bad part. That one is grade A, fantastic. And we'll do the last one here. So what's the difference between grade A? You'll see this one is up to harvest speed 20.9 and the durability up there at 3,520. I love it. and then grade B, which is a little bit better than C, a little bit worse than A, as you can probably imagine. But anyway, guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode of Feed the Beast Unstable there. As always, if you did enjoy the video and you want to see more in the future, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for all of the support on the series so far. I'm so glad that people are enjoying it. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.